Just just turn the clock back to last weekend, Brad, if you could, first of all. Just tell us what your first match day experience was like. How was it for you?
Um, I was exciting. It was enjoyable. Like obviously we got a home game. I really enjoyed our start. I've seen some real positive signs from the team. But then also then when we started to get a little bit tired and fatigued and under a bit of pressure, I just seen us sort of revert back to some habits that we're trying to remove. And those habits are going to take a while to break. But like was so this week, we want to be able to try and push through longer periods of under pressure, and try and embed those good habits that we started to get around our markers and our movements in defence. But just with 6 minutes to go, we lost a little bit of detail. We kicked the ball dead. We didn't get the dummy half. We took a show at marker and we dropped the bomb. Like all in the space of 6 minutes. Just some real simple detail around our game.
In your opinion, how do you go about in training trying to erase those bad habits? Is it about putting the players under pressure in training, putting them in situations that they wouldn't, ideally be in to try and grow that resilience? Is that how you do it?
Well, it's been a short turnaround this week, so that's been hard. But we just got to keep pushing it and making it important and holding blokes accountable for it, and at least they felt and they seen that when they stuck to what they were supposed to do in the plan, it worked for long periods. But if you want to win games and you want to beat the better teams, you need to do it when you're under pressure the most and when you're under fatigue the most. So that's just a concentration thing. Not getting the dummy half. How do you train for that? We did that twice. Like you can't train for that. That's just simple concentration. So that's not a training issue. That comes down to individuals just staying in the game, staying in that moment, and playing each tackle at a time.
What's the prognosis on David Fussatua?
Calf and could be a couple of weeks.
So not as bad as it could possibly be.
It's hard to tell with calves and soft tissue injuries, but they're probably looking at, originally I was told 3 games.
So at the moment, in terms of your selection, I guess through training and through the game that you saw and took charge of, you're getting to know your best team, your best selection. Where are you in terms of sort of knowing which team you want to put out there, preferably?
Yeah, we're getting closer. Obviously we've got James Bentley's back this week. So, me first proper look at him off the bench, and so to see, what he can bring to the team. I've heard all good reports around his aggressive in his work rate, and I'm looking forward to James McDonald getting, because I thought he started really well these first 20 minutes, and he's someone that when I was watching our games previously, he's someone that I was looking forward to coaching, and so I'd like to see him how he goes for 80 minutes. They want to see the partnership of Brody and Fralls grow, because I thought they done a fair job. They kicked well. Lockie Miller done some really good things, but then he had some things in his game which he'd like to remove, and as one of our he's a senior player. He needs to be better than that. But he done a lot of good things. You got to take out a couple of those bloopers that he had, which took away from his game.
Just on James Bentley, Brad, quite a few Leeds fans were surprised to see him in the squad last week, and maybe surprised to see him play this week, given the fact he's been out for so long with the concussion, or due to the concussion protocols. Is it just a coincidence that those protocols have run out on your arrival, or has something else happened?
Oh no, well he was available for I think at that week when I got here. That was when the actual protocols finished. So the club's done the right thing. They followed the protocols. That was when he was cleared to play. I just felt like he probably needed a couple of more training sessions to make sure he was fine and he was ready to go. He's had those couple of extra sessions and we're able to get a fair bit of load into him last week, and a bit more contact. Then he's 100% ready to play. And like he wanted to play last week, but I just opted to go with the guys that had been doing it, and I just felt like he was probably a touch underdone.
Thank you for clearing that up. Just on Lockie Miller, then, how do you go about evening his game out a little bit? Can you do that through chats, or do you need to
Well,
take him out of the firing line at all?
no, don't need to take him out because you want him in the firing line because he's he done a lot of good things for us, and he was, like there's stuff that I can't coach that he can bring to the team. So, um, it, it- there was just some detail errors, and about his positional play, and done a lot of moving and running last week, but he wasted a lot of energy unnecessarily. So like just tidied up of what he should be looking for, where he needs to start. Doesn't sometimes get in a position a bit late and covering ground that he doesn't need to. So that's just going to be just a bit of work with him around his game sense and what he's actually looking for as it unfolds.
You've got 9 games left. You've got 5 away from home. You've got the Magic Weekend as well. Where, how do you read the running? Where does this leave you, do you think, in terms of playoff
All
hopes?
right. Well, I haven't looked too far ahead. I know that we've got 9 games to go. I know that we've got to play a lot of teams above us, but like I've said before, we probably need to play those teams to take the points off them. So it actually, if we can win those games, it actually works in our favour. And if we can't beat them now or over the next 9 weeks, well, like there's no point getting there anyway. And yeah, we got 5 away games, but I reckon 8 away games are a bit of a test of character, and we've talked about that. It was we had a good start here last week, but it's easier to start at home and when everything's nice and in your favour, and you got your own fan base, supporter base, your own stadium, you're nice and comfortable. Well, we're out of our comfort zone come tomorrow night, and we want to see what sort of character we've got, because we can start exactly the same, but that's a choice. We showed that how we needed to start, so they know what they need to do. It's whether we choose to do it or not now.
If you're going to need to beat the teams above you, you're going to definitely need to beat the teams below you. To that end, I've seen this Huddersfield game on Thursday described as a must-win for Leeds. Is it as important as that? Do you feel?
Oh, we haven't talked about like it's a must win, but obviously I'm sure everyone knows without talking about it that it's important that we get the 2 points. We need points to bridge that gap. But what it's probably more what we've talked about is the stuff that we did well is doing that for a full 80 minutes and for longer periods. And the steps forward that we make, we can't go backwards on those. Like that's got to be the bare minimum standard, and we've got to grow on that. And then the areas that we got wrong under pressure, like the simple detail, well, we've got to, we're not going to get all that right, but there's got to be less of it.
What do you know about Huddersfield at this stage?
Oh, they look, the games I've watched, they're a tidy team, and they just graft and they try and play the long game, and they're going to drag you into a real fight and contest, and probably hope that you beat yourself. Which, if you look at it, I think maybe that's what we did last week. We beat ourselves.
Brilliant. Well, all the best. I'll see you
Thank
on
you.
Thursday night. I'll pass you over to everyone else, Brad.
Hi, hi, Brad. Just one from me. On Leeds' error count at the weekend, how do you go about fixing that? Is that just getting the players training more and more under your system, or is it something else that you need to fix?
Well, in the first half, our area count was really good. It was probably our completion rate was quite high, except for we got 6 penalties, which we worked really hard to earn, and then on 6 of those penalties, like 3 of them in the second half, we didn't get to the end of we threw a ball in the touch, we ran in the touch, and we dropped the ball over the try line, all in good field position, which we'd worked hard for. So it's about being more patient there and doing what we did in the first half, which was just get to the end of the tackle count. And the more tackles you get the opposition doing, the tighter they get. The more chance you got of picking a hole, or someone missing a tackle, or a try off a kick. So it's as simple as just those 3 sets. It really hurt us.
You mentioned James McDonnell earlier. Obviously, he picked up a knock last week. Is he okay?
Yeah, he rolled his ankle, and it was a possibility of maybe coming back on, but it just stiffened up and didn't want to put him out there and then burn another change. So, but he ran today, this morning. And he's fine.
Yeah. And Cam Smith okay as well. Obviously,
Yeah,
it's a
he just
short
got some. He
turnaround,
got
but
some cramps. He done a lot of work for us last week, and he just cramped up. And that period, it was 6 or 7 minutes to go. Look, we couldn't afford a passenger out there, so he had to come off.
a lot's been made of the amount of talent Rhinos have got in the young kids. Have you had a chance to look at the sort of the next generation coming through? I know
Yeah,
there's
well,
some young
yeah.
lads training with the first team.
Yeah, well, I watched in the first week, we had some of those young guys playing in the reserves team, and then the academy team played on the weekend and showed some really good signs and some good football. And then they'll get a few of them will get another game this Saturday. So I suggest for them, those guys, it's about them trying to try and play the style of footy that we're trying to coach into the team that's playing every week, and what their role is in that and how they fit into that. And if they can do that in the lower grades, well, they'll put it, give themselves a chance for selection.
Yeah, from what you've seen, is there some good talent coming through the ranks at Leeds?
Yeah, there is. Yeah, there is.
Anyone that's impressed you in particular?
Oh, look, there's a couple of the halves go okay. There's, one of the middles went well. So, look, I don't want to put too much pressure on them. But, yeah, there's some good signs last week, and some of the middles carried nice and strong, and the halves done okay. And, they know their way around the field, and they kicked all right.
Hi, Brad. It's Martin Sadler here from League Express, the weekly rugby league newspaper. I joined this a little bit late, so apologies if this has been asked already, but I just wonder if you've got any plans to strengthen the side with any, new signings in the next week or so. You've got an established squad there. You've got to probably win at least 6 out of 9 to get into the top 6, I would think. Maybe even more, who knows? So it's a big ask, but can you do it with the existing squad, and have you got new guys in mind?
Yeah, well, I think we can do it with the existing squad. And look, it is a big ask, and we're 4 points adrift, and it takes, you probably need a full pre-season to embed really good habits. But we don't have that time, so we've just got to make the most of it. And like Ian had spoke to me that we've got until next Friday. Now we're going to meet early next week, but it was a short turnaround this week. And if there's a possibility of strengthening the squad, the good thing about it is the club's committed to it. But that'll be more of a discussion for next week.
And the interesting thing about this game tomorrow night is that obviously they've recently parted company with their coach, and they seem to have had a bit of a boost since then. They played quite well last week against Salford, and they played well against Lee the previous week, although they didn't win. So you must be expecting, I suppose, them to continue that improvement. It's going to be quite a challenge, isn't it, for your guys?
Yeah, and we've prepared that way. That look, our start is going to be obviously important. These guys are going to make you play for the full 80 minutes. That they try but they're basing their game around playing the long game and staying in it and waiting for you to beat yourself. So we've got to be prepared that we're going to have to play a real disciplined approach, and the detail stuff we got wrong last week, we're going to have to get right. Yeah,
it's a time of the year, isn't it, at the moment, when you get some quite funny results, really. We saw that last week, Hull beating Wigan, obviously Castleford beating Catalans. Some of the sides in the bottom half of the table suddenly seem to be playing quite a lot better. And you probably add Huddersfield beating Salford to that one. So it is a bit unpredictable, which is that's a bad thing from your point of view, I would think.
Yeah, well, we've got a choice to make, haven't we? What mentality and attitude we want to go to the game with. We showed we made some right choices last week with the attitude that we come with. The boys' effort was good, the collision was good, so that's a choice. If we make that choice to come with the, willing to get him amongst the collision and to work really hard for each other, well then, hopefully your foot and some footy stuff can improve. Well, that goes a long way to a result needed.